Good morning, and welcome to the physical and virtual homes of the Calgary Unitarians. For those of you who are new, we also have a lot of people who come in by Zoom, and so I welcome them too. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey of faith or search for meaning, welcome. If you're visiting us for the first time, or even the first time in a long time, know that we are so grateful to have you with us. We come together in beloved community to grow in wisdom, welcome and deepen relationships, and act for a just and sustainable world. Before we start any of our Calgary Unitarian services, we pause and pay attention to the land that we meet on, and to the peoples for whom this land is their traditional territory, extending back some 10,000 years, if not more. These people are landlords, include the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, who include the Chiniki, the Bears Paw, and the Good Stoney. These are all people of Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. And the city of Calgary, known as Makinstas in the Blackfoot language, is also home to the Otipsawa Métis people, the Métis Nation of Alberta Districts 5 and 6. Under Treaty 7, signed at Blackfoot Crossing on September 7, 1877, this area's original inhabitants granted newcomers peaceful access to land in exchange for providing them with educational, medical, and industrial resources. Treaty 7, as are all the numbered treaties in Canada, an enduring treaty, and makes all of us today responsible to honor and uphold those undertakings now and in the future. The Blackfoot, Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda, and Otipsawa teach us that the land is not our servant, but our mother. She feeds and supports us, and we must honor and respect her. We therefore accept our responsibilities to both this land and her original peoples. We are and continue to be all treaty people. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Pam Rickey. I use pronouns she and her, and I have the privilege of being the president of the Board of Trustees of this community, and this congregation is special to me because here I can explore my own spiritual path supported by others, and together with people whose values I share, and in this way my life becomes meaningful. Now, just to say, please join us after the service. I think there's going to be some more things going on in Wickenden. We always go across the hall here into Wickenden for coffee and goodies. So please come in. Those of you online, there'll be breakout rooms as always. So you can get the link in the chat or on the email, the e-news, or it's always on the webpage. Gavin is going to do a quick announcement about a really fun event coming up.
That's true. It's coming up very shortly. Thank you, Pam. My name is Gavin, and I am this morning your song leader, and here at Calgary Unitarian Church, your interim pianist. And yes, community is about sharing and creating, and we are going to be sharing something that we've created this coming Friday and Saturday. So that's April 19th and 20th at 7 p.m. here. And that is our annual massive fundraising event, Cabaret. Yeah? And so there will be choirs, and there will be soloists, and we will have a drummer, and there will be food, and there will be drink, and there will be merriment, and there will be costumes, and there will be a harmonica. And so tickets for this event are available on event, and 3 hardcore ukuleles as well. Thank you. Thank you, Brandis, for that prompt. Tickets are available for sale on Eventbrite, and I believe that we're selling them also here in person in Wickenden following the service. I look at Pam. I don't know. Christian has been saying X.
I'll help with that.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That is true. I was just repeating what Christian has said in the past. So please, cabaret, invite your friends, invite your family if you are not estranged, and we look to see you there for an evening of food and merriment.
Thanks, Gavin. One other thing that I want to remind everyone about, and especially for new people, we have a really other fundraiser going on. It's called the Services Auction. And you'll see in Wickenden 2 tables with papers that say what's for sale. And of course, all the money that it gets paid for these things goes to the church. And there's things like dinners that get people together and have fun, or some individual things where people just offer up gifts. So have a look after the service.
Thank you so much. There's so much exciting moods going on here today. I'm Cathy Welburn, she and her, and I'm the resident poet. Kinda. April is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of dead land, mixing memory and desire, stirring their dull roots with spring rain. Perhaps that's why the League of Canadian Poets decided to make April Poetry Month. And this 2024, we're celebrating weather. And many poets are coming right after the service who are part of this event of the League of Canadian Poets to do stormy weather. But it's held on the last 2 weeks of the National Poetry Month. They also have Poem in Your Pocket Day. So you have to prepare for that. You can actually go online and download a lot of contemporary poetry from America and Canada by going into the Academy of American Poets. And you can find some really engaging poetry there, or your own. Put the poem in your pocket and feel free to share it as many times as you can on Thursday with your friends in coffee shops, churches, corners, social media, the hashtag #PoetPocket.
When I learned this morning that this morning's theme was listening in, speaking out in National Poetry Month, I thought that for the prelude I would share some of my own poetry. So this is a song that I wrote, I don't know, 20 years ago or something like that. It's called Gratitude. Grass glows green, air shines clean, past is seen, humans being. Time flows stream, waves crash, dream, God sets scene, new life teems. I am so grateful for this gift of life that you have bestowed upon me. Humble I am. Music lifts joy through me. Wind tangles pulls my hair, a bray of laughter in my throat, cry of glee. I'm glad I'm me. I am so grateful for this gift of life that you have bestowed upon me. Humble I am, humble I am, humble I am. Waves break clear, gulls dive near. I stand here, losing fear.
Tough act to follow. I'm Marcia, Epstein, she, her, and we have the chalice lighting. The words are from Adam's slate. We gather this morning as one community, a community united by common ideals: love, justice, diversity, freedom, mutual care, equity. Yet look around. Look at the faces of those around you. Each face represents one individual. Every one of us with our own story, needs, strengths, and faults. We light our chalice today, honoring our common connection and also the uniqueness that lives within each of us. And the opening song
is Open the Door. I invite you to stand in body and or in spirit and join your voices with mine as we sing this old-timey sounding song. Open the door, step right in. Come into this place where love and hope will abide. Reach out your hand to fill you in. It's so good to be together again. Start out the day wearing a grin. Joyful faces make the people want to come in. Open your arms to show that you care, and our little light will shine everywhere. When you're in pain, trouble, or doubt, let the love come in to help the hurting come out. Open your heart to show that you feel, and we'll build a church of love that is real. Open the door, step right inside. Come into this place where love and hope will abide. Reach out your hand, I will welcome you in. It's so good to be together, so good to be together, so good to be together again.
Well, I have worked a lot with children of many ages, and through the years, I've always thought it was a good idea to hear from the children, because you're always so bossy when you're a teacher. And so it always takes some time, even when I was substituting, a time in the class where people would just be still for a moment. Or we would sometimes go for a walk in the fresh air and be still and look at what we were watching. And then we would come back and write a poem. Here is a poem by a 4-year-old in the 70s. I hate to think it's that long ago that I first started teaching. This is a 4-year-old. I wish it was summer and Lisa could live with me and we could bring all these trees back into my house. I wish for a daddy. Molly. 5-year-old. I wish I was a little person so I could find little things like diamonds. I wish I was a bird then so I could fly away. Jody. Here's a 7-year-old who wrote more recently, and we used to organize peace camps here at this church, which were interfaith, and all kinds of people would come, and we would go on walks around the neighborhood with our pads. We would sketch, and this 7-year-old wrote this. Lonely owl. An owl on a branch, staring at the mountains below. Ice under the branch. No other animals. The owl flies away. It's hard to see its wings in the rain. That was Lucas. And finally, one of the youth, teenagers who was helping out, wrote this. Green tomatoes hiding so sweet. They don't need to show off. Someone wants them to be glad. Shield them from their melancholy. They're not just another weakling hiding in the grass. Someone took the time to stop and look. Simple joy, just like a tomato. Natalie.
And now, candles. We light our first candle for sorrows. As we learn to be a beloved community, we acknowledge each other's grief and pain and anxiety, offering comfort by sharing stories or simply being together. Our second candle is for joys. The buds on branch tips, the energy of sunlight, the way our minds and muscles are renewed as winter ends, and the way joys are amplified when we share them. Now we light our candle for the world, which we understand so well to be in crisis. But even amid the destruction, the massive concrete rubble in Gaza and Syria and Ukraine, the lies and spite on social media, the pollution. But birds nest, seeds germinate, chicks and cubs and calves are born. It helps to remember that human conflicts won't eliminate spring. And now, to the meditation. Let's take 2 minutes of silence to reflect on the thoughts and feelings and inspirations that come when there's room to have them, because it's quiet.
Why still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years singing. Why still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years singing.
Well, we often, on Poetry Month, we often have an evening called See You Friday. And that's when anybody who wants to come and experiment with writing poems, sharing poems, practicing reading them and setting them up. And we have our very own poets that are in this congregation as well, many. We're very lucky to have Svoboda, who's a longtime member of the Calgary Unitarians, as well as Alexander Writers Society, whose recent book, Letter to the New Owners, has come out. He's very much interested in the environment and often runs for the Green Party. And Carl is a regular member that comes to the See You Fridays for poetry, as well as many other places in Calgary. So can we hear from Svoboda?
Well, good morning, everybody. I've got a couple of poems here from my book, which I can share today. The first one is about a medicine wheel, particularly the Majorville medicine wheel that maybe some of you have heard of, but there's a lot of them scattered around Alberta. Okay, this poem is Medicine Wheel, June 23rd, 2013. I come awake at 4:30 and dress quietly in the tent. Outside, the mosquitoes are active. I walk quickly, swatting them away, through the scrub and cactus and up the long ridge, then the hill shaped vaguely like the Matterhorn. The wheel is on the high point, the altar in this cathedral of space, visibility 30 miles in every direction. A half-burned twist of sweetgrass lies on the cairn. I should offer something, but I've come empty-handed. I pour some water on the stones. It is a thirsty land. There's a sense of something old, slumbering, but benevolent. A residue of the psychic energy channeled through this place over 5 millennia. The eastern sky grows brighter, and the sun cracks the horizon about 5:15. And another poem. I worked in the oil patch for 32 years, and I've been writing poetry almost that long, but I've hardly ever written anything about my working life, so I don't know what that says. But I do have one poem here. It's called Retirement Party. By then, I had been there for 17 years, 11 as chief engineer, and it was good, almost all of it. When I went to my office to hang up my coat, somebody else had moved in. The party was well attended. The VP said nice things about me. They gave me a painting, a cross-country ski scene. No skier, just a set of tracks, disappearing into the bush. So, in keeping with the later program about stormy weather, I do have a stormy weather poem. This one is called Wild Man. At 4 a.m., I wake to a thunderstorm and stumble out on the deck, naked in the rain, pull a tarp over the flower boxes and weigh it down, then step out on the grass, let the rain pound on my face, run down my back, wash away suburban respectability. I am wild and free amid the flash and boom in the hall of the sky gods, while my neighbors sleep around me. Back in the house, I am toweled dry and warm in bed, scrubbed clean, wide awake. Thank you.
That was too short, I think. But stay tuned. After the service, there's going to be huge poetry reading, and there'll be poets there with their books, and Carl will also have his books. So. And next we have Grant Nelson, who is a favorite at our Poetry CU Poetry Night as well as he's been writing poetry also for a very long time, and recently had one of his poems in the E-News. You may have read it, responding to the Easter service, I think it was. Before that, okay. Anyway, Grant Nelson.
Hi all. Yeah, most of my writing is to a still voice. So this is going to be something sort of new to me to actually put it into vocal. So forgive me if it's not as good as it should be. This is called Love and Fear, and Reverend Samaya had actually talked about that. And what struck me about love and fear is, oh thanks. What struck me about love and fear was it just seemed like not enough for our soul emotions. And what I often do when I think things over is I go to writing. This is what came out of it. Love and fear. May peace enfold your living being like water flowing through a stream that makes its way from heights to depths, and find your life has few regrets. The toll of truth spawns love and fear. We weigh the depths of things unclear reach conclusions which to choose. When fear succeeds, then love must lose. Hate and fear shed common light, as people suffer from the blight of they who prey on common cause and pick on others' mental flaws. We can't succeed if we abide with folk who conquer love with pride, or set to fire common needs with hateful words and sour deeds. Our soul survival must depend on those whose light shines to defend the ones left blind with clouds of fear. A leaf falls when winter draws near.
Okay, you could have read, have you another one to read? Grant?
Oh, sorry.
Do you have another one to read?
If you want, I'll read it after. I've got a 2 o'clock engagement.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, and next we have Michell, who I think everyone knows, longtime member of this community, and he's also been trying out poetry with our group and has come up with some unusual, really interesting poems. And tonight, feel free, we've got lots of time to share a number. Mitch.
Thank you, Cathy. Morning, everyone. I'm not a particularly prolific poet presently, though I worship words and writing, and I am always amused by artistic alliteration. Get it? I wrote a lot in my college days and a little in the intervening time, but in recent years I've not much exercised those talents. However, when Cathy invited me to handle the sound at a poetry workshop last year and then again this past Friday, I did that, and of course it was happening, so I wrote a couple of small pieces, which I'll get to in a couple of minutes. Part of the workshop involved finding poems by other authors for inspiration, and I'll read from them first. I don't have a great body of work in the current millennium. Lots of time. The theme we based our searches on was stormy weather, and we found many poems with storms in their titles or in their content. The first I'd like to read for you is A Thunderstorm by Emily Dickinson. The wind began to rock the grass with threatening tunes, and lo, he threw a menace at the earth, a menace at the sky. The leaves unhooked themselves from trees and started all abroad. The dust did scoop itself like hands and threw away the road. The wagons quickened on the streets. The thunder hurried slow. The lightning showed a yellow beak and then a livid claw. The birds put up bars to nests. The cattle fled to barns. Then came one drop of giant rain, and then, as if the hands that held the dams had parted hold, the waters wrecked the sky, but overlooked my father's house, just quartering a tree. It's a surprisingly abrupt ending, isn't it? It just stops there. But such great imagery and wonderful use of words that the leaves unhooked themselves from trees, or the waters wrecked the sky. In university, I had a recording of Robert Frost reading his own poems. I listened to them quite frequently. One I enjoyed a lot was Birches. It's quite long. I won't read all of it to you, but I'd like you to enjoy with me his use of words in some of these sections. It starts, when I see birches bend to left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging them. Often you must have seen them loaded with ice a sunny winter morning after a rain. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. The trees bend down like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. It's when I'm weary of considerations and life is too much like a pathless wood, I'd like to get away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin again. Earth, the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven, till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than being a swinger of birches. So those are my openers. It was nice of them to step in for me and fill out the time. A couple of poems from last year, short ones. Boy in the Middle. Jill was older, Kath was younger, I was in the middle. Jill led the way, pushing the bounds. Kath had it easy, the baby of the family. I was in the middle. I had to be responsible. Jill got married, Kath went to Greece. I got a job and managed computers. Jill's in a nursing home. Kath has cancer. I get along as well as I can. I love them both. And then, as a bit of fun, story of a pencil. I was one of 100,000, all proudly bearing our company's name, Canadian Pacific Hotels. Some of us spent our lives in boardrooms, some in crisscross the country on the rails, some were giveaways at conferences. That was my path. I languished for years in a dresser drawer and then was brought out, sharpened, and put to use at a poetry writing workshop. Canadian Pacific Hotels. And now you're the first to hear my poem from Friday, which is still under construction. Under storm clouds, the picnic island serene on a hot August day with my hoped love, dreaming of our future. The rocks warm beneath our feet, the birds sailing over the water scanning for fish, the small creatures industrious in the brush, the lake waters inviting us to swim, a blissful day. Then a passing remark, was it a joke or a slight? Something's not right. Do we have a future together? The airy clouds in the western sky, innocent at first, are now massing high. We've seen those clouds in past summers, foretelling awful storms. The wind picking up, we think of dashing home, but the waters will be unsafe in a heavy blow. We could be wrecked and drowned. Yet if our boat is blown away and we're stranded here on this barren island, it could be hours or days before we're found. What is the safe way, the courageous way, the selfless way, the best way for us? Should we stay? Thank you.
What a treat. And now it's time for our offering, and I'm going to use the words of Victoria Weinstein, not a poem, unfortunately. I've just changed it a little bit, but every week in our church we take up an offering. It's good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it's through pledges, actually, that we build our budget and fund our yearly programs and our ministries of worship and religious education. We pay our staff and professional religious leaders, and we finance the comfort and beauty of our buildings. And we know that we could easily submit those pledge checks to the church at any convenient time. People give in a variety of ways: monthly bank transfers, e-transfers, volunteer hours. But we pass the plate during our worship service anyway to make a community expression of thanks for the blessings of abundance, to visibly bring in the harvest at this most cherished hour of our week. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. Now, if this is your first time with us, just pass the basket on to the person beside you. Just being here with us today is your gift to us for today. Every month, we have someone in the community that we give some money to. We call it our For Others. And this month's For Others is the Calgary Alliance for the Common Good, of which we are a member. And one half of the unmarked offerings in the basket goes to For Others, and that'll be for Calgary Alliance for this whole month. These envelopes are in the back of the chairs, and if you want all of the money you're putting in to go to the For Others, there's a place you can tick it off. And there are other places, too, that you can mark what you want your offering to be for. The morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
We now extinguish the chalice. The reading is from Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. After the final hymn, please join us in Wickenden for coffee, tea, snacks, and at 12 o'clock, a special event, the poetry celebration. Let's welcome the poets with full attention. And if you're on Zoom, hop into those breakout rooms and maybe share some poetry of your own. even if it's been hiding in a desk drawer for decades. Now it's time to wave to the folks on Zoom. Hey, Zoom. And over to Gavin for boarding the blue boat home.
Beautiful. Please stand in body and or in spirit and join your voices with mine as we sing what some folks have said is their favorite song. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue bone home. Sun, my sail, and the moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred and pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue bone home. I give thanks to the way